And in today's environment, with the world being so crazy as it is, really being grounded in your leadership, your authentic leadership style. And everybody has their own authentic leadership style. But it's so important to focus on what you believe in, be grounded in your values, and really focus in on what matters most to you as a leader. And then help leading is really about guiding other people and being there for other people.
Welcome to the Making Sales Social podcast, featuring the top voices in sales, marketing, and business. Join Bryn Tillman and me, Bob Woods, as we each bring you the best tips and strategies our guests are teaching their clients, so you can leverage them for your own virtual and social selling. Enjoy the show. John J. Fenton, author, speaker, coach, and the founder and CEO of John J. Fenton Executive Coaching, joins us in the Social Sales Link virtual studios for this week's episode of Making Sales Social. John is known as the CEO Sensei and works with CEOs and business leaders who want more clarity, better results, and more freedom in their lives. What separates the good leaders from the great ones is that inner game or mindset of leadership, and John is dialed in to that mindset. Formerly a managing partner with BDO USA, John has been transforming the landscape of executive coaching and leadership since 2013. 11 years now. That's great. His recent book, 5-Minute Mastery, was a number one new release and bestseller in 3 categories on Amazon and is available currently on Amazon as well. And something I find fascinating, John has earned a black belt in Tai Chi and is a master of meditation in that field as well. So I would try to come up with a Tai Chi joke, but I don't know it well enough at this point. So I think instead we're just going to say welcome to Making Sales Social, John.
Thank you so much, Bob. It's a pleasure to be with you. And excuse my voice. I got a little bit of laryngitis this past week. So
Oh yeah, everybody's getting sick. It seems like I've been dodging it so far. Hopefully, I will
good for
continue
you. Good
to
for
dodge
you.
that. Yeah. So our first traditional question on the shoe is, what does making sales social mean to you?
Really, to me, it really is about connecting, right? Connecting with people that don't know me. I'm building relationships. So it's a starting point to build a relationship and starting to get to a point where we can get to a point where we can have a conversation. So it's really the starting point for me about reaching out to people, people that I'm interested in. Hopefully they'll be interested in what I have to offer as well. And we can start a conversation.
That's probably the most succinct answer that I've ever heard of that question, and it's also a fantastic answer to that question. Appreciate that, John. Thanks. You've been recognized as a leading authority in leadership. So how do you see the role of leadership evolving, especially in the context of B2B sales and what we like to talk about around here, and that's social selling?
Yes, thank you. A great question. The world is so complex, and it continues to be more complex every day, every year.
Yeah, agreed.
Pandemic really accelerated a lot of uncertainty and ambiguity in business. And so my view is you want to be the best leader you can be. I was a student of leadership throughout my career. I played collegiate sports. So I got to see the good and the bad and the ugly about good teams and championship teams. I was a part of both. What leadership it took to really have those kinds of teams, successful teams. And so it's really been a passion of mine, reading about, learning from other leaders. And in today's environment, with the world being so crazy as it is, really being grounded in your leadership, your authentic leadership style. And everybody has their own authentic leadership style. But it's so important to focus on what you believe in, be grounded in your values, and really focus in on what matters most to you as a leader. And then leading is really about guiding other people and being there for other people. So being in a position to help that.
When it comes to that whole thing about deciding what type of leader you are, I guess just going to throw it out there very generically. I mean, I do think a lot of people probably know what that is, but if somebody doesn't know what that is or somebody doesn't like what that is, what can they do?
Yeah, great follow-up. There's a lot of preconceptions. I think a lot of us have an idea about what a great leader looks like.
Mhm.
A lot of times we think it's the person out in front, the big name, the big persona. Doesn't have to be. Some of the greatest leaders of all time were introverts, right? I have a client she's a self-proclaimed introvert. And that's okay, because you can still be an introvert and still be very impactful. But great leaders they're driven, they have a vision for the future, it's not all about themselves or about their own satisfaction or own careers. It's about everybody they're working with, their team members, people in their organization. They want to see everybody be successful. And so leadership really comes from a place of giving, compassion, great leadership, giving and compassion, and really having a view for what the future could look like, and then taking a stand. Sometimes you have to take a stand about what you believe in and what you think the company or the firm or organization needs to achieve or go towards to create that vision or create that future. And sometimes it's not always popular, but if you believe in yourself, you're grounded in your values. I think leadership is really about taking a stand and believing in really good grounded values that you have and moving forward and moving towards achieving those goals. And leadership can come from anybody and any level in an organization. It's sometimes a situation, but it's showing about you care for other people. You care about not only your own success, but the success of the people around you. And you have a clear idea about where you want to go forward to.
So that's interesting because so far we've kind of looked at things from a leadership standpoint. From the person being the leader, I guess
Mhm.
is what I should say. But what is it about that type of leader that people who are looking to be led or who need to be led just because they're working for the leader, what attracts them to that type of person? And what should that leader do to kind of, I don't want to say reinforce that attraction, but I mean, just to make it easy for people to go, hey, this guy's or this gal is a good leader. I should listen to him and be led by them.
I think for everybody, I believe that for everybody, and I know this from my own experience, look at the people in your life who have been that you thought are a good leader. What is it about them that you thought was a good leader? It's really unspoken, really. It's not the words they say, it's their actions. So if you're true to yourself, really, a lot of my work is around tapping into your authentic self, your best
Mhm.
self. If you're true to that self and making life decisions based on a place from that best self, that true self, energetically, your vibe, whatever it is that's going to come off from you, people are going to resonate with. Some people will will resonate with it. Some people may not. Right? There's different vibes. I'm getting all kind of quantum mechanics, but different vibrations about leadership and energy and the things we bring to the table. But as a leader, a big common mistake of leaders are you typically the person that has done a really good job at one level in the organization keeps getting moved up in the organization, right? And they take on more and more leadership roles. And then these roles are they're responsible for more people than just themselves. Well, a lot of times we get this kind of trap thinking that we have to be something that we're not really, right? We kind of have this own idea of what we think leadership is. So we get into imposter syndrome of trying to be something we're not, and we're not being true to ourselves. And the moment that you start to make decisions and take actions that are not consistent with your core values of who you really are, people are going to recognize that. It's unconscious, really. People recognize that, and they may not want to follow you as the leader or not agree
Mhm.
with the leader. So I think just it's really it's the inner work. It's really focusing on you being grounded in who your true values are, what your true values are, and in making choices and decisions and taking actions. Actions speak louder than the words, about being that real authentic person. And then really taking the time to spend time with your people that you're leading, getting to know them, getting to understand them. Coming from a sports background, I played collegiate sports at a very high level. The best coaches that I saw were the ones that took time to spend time to know their players and understand their players' strengths and sometimes in their weaknesses as well, areas that they can strengthen. But to understand those players, understand where they're coming from so they can relate to them more on a one-on-one basis. And I think in today's environment with work from home and all the hybrid work and all these different ways of now how work is being done, it's harder and harder to do that. But it can still be done through using your intentionality and spending time with people one-on-one, virtual coffees or whatever it might be. But it's really putting yourself out there authentically, connecting with the people on your team, having a clear idea about where you want to go. And I think people will gravitate towards you and follow you.
And not do all that from on high, I think is what I'm really
Right.
hearing from
Right.
more than
It's not out of a textbook, really.
right.
You think of it, it's kind of basic, right? It's the things we learned growing up. It's, show respect for other people. If you want to be respected, show respect to other people. If you want to be trusted and trustworthy, be trustworthy and show that you trust other people. The same, there's a lot of talk nowadays about engagement. How
Right.
do we get more engagement from our people? And I know from my own experience as a young pup growing up in the accounting profession, a long time ago, before we even talked about this stuff or thought about this stuff, that A managing partner came to me one day, it was a young staff person, and said, "Here, I want you to review this projection." Sitting around the office, I had nothing else working on. I was working on nothing else at the time. It was brand new to the firm at that time. I took an hour, spent some time going through it, thought about it, went back to him with some questions. For me, that was, and he actually didn't like kick me out of his office when I came back to him.
Yeah.
And, he appreciated what I did for him. And it really just showed it's kind of a belonging cue, right? Daniel Coyle in Culture Code talks about belonging cues. It's engaging with other people, asking them to do things, sometimes challenge them, sometimes too, challenge them to go above where they're at in terms of their career, to engage them with, more challenging work and opportunities to show what they really can do. And many times people will rise to the occasion.
Yeah, so be available, and also, yeah, I mean, fighting the status quo is probably a pretty big thing here, it sounds like. I mean, because I do think that leaders should encourage growth, and it sounds like by what you're describing that when people do trust a leader who is authentic and genuine and listens, they feel like they can grow more rather than someone who just says, "Yeah, yeah, you can grow," and just walks
Right.
away. And
But it
yeah,
becomes, talk is cheap, right? And it's,
that's it.
if you got to walk the talk, right? So you got to really demonstrate through your actions that you do trust people by giving them opportunities to grow and mature. And you mentioned the word listening. Listening is so important. And it's just so important. And it's something I'm always trying to work on. It was not a skill set that I had mastered at all before I got to the profession. But something I've really tried to work on a lot, because we get in our mind, we start thinking about things, the next conversation, the next question. We forget to just sit back and take a moment of pause and just really listen, and really kind of listen between the words, to kind of get the vibe of what that person might be trying to express. That
Yeah.
could lead to another question that furthers the conversation.
Mm.
And when you spend that time to really focus on someone one on one and really listen to them, it makes a big impact.
Listen to the words and listen in between the words. I
Mhm.
like that. I like that a lot. So, your work emphasizes the importance of clarity and focus, especially in the high pressure environments that we all seem to be in nowadays.
Right.
Are there strategies that sales professionals specifically can use to maintain clarity and focus in that high pressure area, especially when it comes to digital stuff? I mean, we're all digital, and digital obviously is not going away.
Well, I know for myself, I mean, I grew up in a very non-digital world early in my career, right? So, but even nowadays, what I do, so there's a couple of techniques you can use that I use for myself. One is push the pause button. I push
Mm,
away from my computer. If I've been on my computer too much, I can feel it, right? I can feel my head buzzing, or
mhm.
push away from the digital stuff, digital tools. Take a pause. Breathing is so important. Breathing is the one
Yeah,
autonomic function in your body you actually can control in your
yeah,
body. And
yeah.
if you can get
Actually
close,
aware that, and it's funny you mentioned this, and I didn't mean to interrupt, but I did want to bring this up because read this literally like yesterday. For every 25 minutes, and you can even put this into your into like a smartwatch or your
Mhm,
phone, or
mhm.
for every 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break, because that's a
Yes.
extent where people start to lose focus and start to lose activity.
Exactly, exactly. And years ago, I mean, the system is still this way, I think, but in colleges and high school and that, classes were only like typically a 50-minute class time. And then you had 10 minutes to get to your next class, but really it's to give you a break, a mental break,
Yeah.
right? And an emotional break too, because we get tied up in our work, and,
Right.
our emotions are involved, and we're focused, we're laser focused, hopefully, on what we're doing. Got to take a break, got to take a pause. So taking a pause is really important. The Navy SEALs have a great motto. They have many mottos. And one of the mottos that I've read is slow is smooth, smooth is fast,
Hmm.
right? So slow things down, because it becomes smoother. When it's smoother, you have less errors, less variations or whatever. And ultimately it becomes faster, right? In the Navy SEALs environment, it's life or death.
Right.
Hopefully the profession you're in, your listeners are in, is not life or death. But slowing things down, it's such a frenetic world out there, and we're bombarded, right, with constantly with information. The
Right.
other thing I would say to slow things down is take your devices, all your electronic devices, shut them off an hour or two before you go to bed, unless you're waiting for a really important phone call. Keep the phone out of your bedroom, all that kind of stuff, iPad, whatever. And then don't grab your phone first thing in the morning. Don't grab the iPhone, the Android or whatever, or the
Huh.
tablet or computer first thing in the morning. Give yourself some time to reflect, pause, breathe, start the day off on a good note.
Yeah, so I just think about myself really quick with that. I don't know how to avoid that because I actually use my phone as the as my alarm to wake up in the
You
morning. I
can,
just
yeah, you can do that. Just keep it down, keep it face down.
keep it face down. I like that. Okay. That we can go. That we can do.
And we're so
So,
tied to our devices, right, Bob? I mean, they're like an appendage of our bodies, right? And
yeah.
we really have to train ourselves to manage those things. I always turn the volume, the sound down, everything. My wife gets mad at me because she can never reach me because I never hear the phone because I have it on quiet, right? But
Mhm.
I don't want all that interruption during the day. When I picked her certain times of the day, I'll pick up the phone, I'll look at it, check messages certain times. So I'm in control. If I have that thing pop constantly pinging and dinging me, I'm not in control at all.
Exactly. You're yeah, spinning out of control, and there's so many things in life in general that are outside of our control.
Right,
Why
absolutely.
that we own and we depend on to control us. It shouldn't happen like that. So let's switch gears a little bit here. Let's talk about top characteristics of high performing sales teams. What are some of those? And we talked a little bit about virtual or hybrid work environments.
Mhm.
How how can we adapt those specifically to that environment, as well as just, I mean, just salespeople in general, obviously,
Sure.
but we are still virtual, we're still hybrid as much as ever, and I don't see it going away. I don't know about you.
Right. No, I think hybrid's here to stay,
Yeah.
for sure. I know some companies are actually trying to force return to office. I know there's some pushback on that, so I'm not sure where it's going to end up. But I think more people just want more flexibility. But the
Right.
thing I think, for sales, my experience of high performing sales teams, you got to be very intentional and disciplined, right? So you got to map out a strategy, a plan. How many calls or outreaches are we going to do during a week, during a month, during a quarter, for the whole year? But it can bring it back to what's the quarter? What are we going to do? Focusing on I know quarterly measures are really important, right?
Right.
So being intentional, I think grounding yourself in understanding your products and services very well, understand the why of your products and services. So you want to tap into people's emotional triggers, if you will, not manipulatively, but in
Yeah.
a way that you're cognizant of that. So what makes your product or service like the best in the market? What makes it great? Sell those kinds of things, relate those kind of things to your customer situation. So using great questions, right? Great intuitive, great conversational questions to dig deeper. Don't always
Hmm.
accept the first answer, learn more about them. Make it about them. Make it about the customer or the potential customer and what's really important to them. Exploratory, find out what their issues are. And 9 times out of 10, if you have a solution that's going to solve that potential customer's problem, and it's a real problem for them, they're gladly going to want to pay your firm, your company, to solve that problem.
Right.
So, make it conversational, make it a friendly exchange. They may say no, they may say yes to the next yes. Hopefully, it's the next yes is another meeting or whatever. It might be the closing, but really being focused on that. And then you got to have targets and metrics and things to kind of measure your success, and break it down, chunk everything down to, okay, I got a quarterly target. Well, what's the next thing I need to do today that's going to move me forward to get to that target, and be diligent about that. So tracking yourself using time blocking, it really takes a lot of discipline. If you're working from home, you got lots of distractions at home, whether it's puppy dogs or kids or whatever may be at home. But really, allow yourself that time to be clear, be tied into your values and the core values of your company in the products and services that you deliver to your customers. Have that really clear in your mind. And then, if you get stuck, reach out for people on your team for help, right? Don't
Yep.
think have to do it all by yourself. You've got a sales team. Look to other people for advice and brainstorm on some things to help you solve some of these issues you may be coming up against, and continue to believe in what you're doing and believe in what your products and services are. And energetically, if you really believe in that, you're grounded in the purpose of those products and services. That's going to come across in the conversation with your potential customers. And people, it's the Simon Sinek notion of why. People buy based on what they believe in, and it aligns with what you believe in. So be clear about what those beliefs are, your company's beliefs, and align those with your potential customers, and you should have some pretty good success, I would think.
It's all about aligning values. It sounds like whether or not it's from the leadership standpoint, what we've been talking about
Mhm.
previously, or even just with salespeople. And I think that that spins into the next question pretty well because we're just starting out 2024, and some people say it's going to be great. Other people say probably not so much. We don't know.
Right.
But what I'm wondering is,
Mhm.
with everything you just said, what emerging trends or changes do you foresee in the realm of sales leadership, and how should sales professionals prepare to adapt to that?
I think, well, I mean, the trends in sales leadership, I think, again, getting closer to your potential, targeting your potential customers, really niching. I think niching more, if you can find a niche for your product and services, really niche into that more.
Mhm.
Find, build out your ecosystem. So your company may provide a certain service, but there's other people providing similar other services, not competing with yours, to that same target client, ideal client, customer. So identifying ecosystems and building relationships with those ecosystems, other people that can refer you into other opportunities, and vice versa, right? So you can, also refer those companies into potential target customers. So thinking about it's a big ocean, right? A big ocean, or a big pie, and there's room at the table for everybody to enjoy that pie. And so thinking about, outside of your four walls of your virtual business, if you will, connecting with people outside of your four walls that are in that ecosystem, that provide some level of service to customers, that your target customers, that market. And it's kind of before, during, and after marketing, right? So where are those people in that process and themselves? Where can you tap into them, provide services or information or insights to those service providers that also can then lead you to more opportunities? I think, there's a lot of talk about AI and technology and things. It's going
Yep.
to continue to grow. It's going to continue to expand. Again, I come back to core values. Are we going to let the AI drive us, or are we going to drive the AI and the machine learning? Right. So it's embracing this is happening. It's not, not going to go back to not using that.
Right.
Embrace that this is happening. It's the trend. It's going to continue. Find the ways that you can use those tools as tools. The best way, make sure you have good quality data that you're using, and not rely on all the data you're getting out of certain components of AI. A lot of companies are investing billions of dollars in their own internal AI machine learning. So, use the tools that you can. It's still going to come down to building relationships. So never lose sight of that in terms of sales, right? You want to build a relationship with those customers before, during, and after the sale. Continue to build those relationships, use the technology to your advantage, and again, being just true to your core values.
So when it the one thing, I mean, I find a lot fascinating about you, but the one thing that probably fascinates me the most is that you have a black belt in Tai Chi and master of meditation, which I actually want to kind of know what that is a little bit more. But how do you think principles from Tai Chi can be applied to enhance performance in sales and marketing?
Yes, very, very much so. It really helped me dramatically in my career. As a managing partner, I was responsible pretty much 50% marketing, sales and marketing, and 50% getting the work out the door. And it really, again, the principles I've been kind of sharing today really are founded largely in that, right? Being centered, being focused internally,
Mm.
not falling sway to all the external stimulation you're getting all the time. So being grounded in your core principles, really being centered in a term called centered stillness. I wrote a post today in LinkedIn actually around about that very concept of silence is one of the is really the strongest sound.
Hmm.
So
Yep.
letting silence, embracing silence. Now you can tell I love to talk. So embracing silence, about getting to that quiet place, getting that quiet moment, first thing in the morning, throughout the day. It only takes a few minutes, using your breath to help you create that quiet stillness, that quiet space, and that silence. And that silence is a really great tool to have. It's really a secret weapon in sales, I think, because when you're being silent and you're just listening without judging, without anticipating, just listening, sometimes I find the right words come, the next thing that comes out of my mouth are the right words that helps move the conversation forward in terms of how we're going to work together with that potential customer. So, really embrace that stillness and that silence. Tai Chi teaches us about mind body connection. And what that really means is being aware of yourself, self awareness, really important. And aware of what, if you're coming on too strong or not, you're not interjecting enough into a conversation. Self
Mhm.
awareness about where the other person is coming from and their awareness. And it's more about an emotional level, right?
Right.
And but having that confidence, so building your confidence in that you're self-aware and confident that you're going to get to the right answer or right solution for your customer, potential customer. And so it's really about just being self-aware, grounded in your values, living your life from your best self. As I said, it really is a foundational tool that can help you tap into your best self through many techniques, physical movement, as well as breathing, and the meditation's tied into that as well. So yeah, I used to teach Tai Chi classes and
Oh,
uh,
neat.
as well. And I ran a yoga and Tai Chi center actually for a year and a half. I was asked to run it by the company, the organization I got my certifications from after I retired, which I did and enjoyed thoroughly. And it was a great experience, but I had something more to give than that. So, but it's a great opportunity for you to, physical activity is really great, whether it's Tai Chi or anything. If you like to walk or work out or run or whatever it might be, physical activity really stimulates your body, gets your juices flowing. It's
Yeah.
good for your body, your hormones, your energy. And then allowing yourself that quiet time to just reflection. Just a little bit of, it could be 5 minutes, 15 minutes. That reflection time is really, really important. And those are some basic tools that I learned through my practice in Tai Chi.
And say, so is some of that stuff in your book, which is entitled 5 Minute Mastery: The
It
Surprising
is.
Secret of Transforming Your Stress to Success and Mastering What's Important? Do you cover those types of things? Do you get into more of the business side as opposed to Tai Chi side? How's that
Yeah.
working?
It's really just, well, the concept of 5 minute mastery is that everything can change in 5 minutes.
Okay.
Everything can change. And I base that on my personal experience. So, um, I was in a meeting with a client. I passed out during the meeting with my client, and
Wow.
I'd stopped breathing actually, and
Wow.
was rushed to a hospital. Thankfully, someone was there to administer CPR, saved my life. But in the matter of just a few minutes, everything can change. Your
Yeah.
life can get turned upside down. Well, you can shift your focus, you can shift your mood, you can shift your energy from you might be a period where you're a little bit down, right? Things don't be working out, you're not getting the sales that you want to get. The money's not going into your bank account like you'd like to see, whatever it might be. So even those down periods, but you can shift that mindset into a position where you put yourself emotionally and in a mindset where you envision yourself, seeing yourself achieving the things you want to achieve. And so it's using visualization, that type of thing. But in 5 minutes time, you can shift everything just from your own focus, your self-awareness, and your breathing. So the
Mhm.
concept starts there. So I include some techniques on breathing, how to sharpen your focus, how to be the best leader you can be. Also, I include some of I have 8 ideas about how to be the best leader you can be. Include some of the things we talked about today as well, or in that book.
Great, great. So, it's probably to spin and the way that I like to wrap up all these interviews, and that I love those one thing you can do right now kind of takeaways. So, John Fenton, if there's one thing our audience can do right now to distress their professional and personal lives, what would that one thing be?
Take a pause, allow yourself to take 5 minutes, just focus on your breathing. I lay it out in the book, but really simply, you want to inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth very slowly. The term is box breathing, it's 4-part breathing. Breathe in slowly, hold it for 4 count, breathe out slowly for 4 count, hold that. As you continue to breathe, and don't force the breath, but what that does is it just realigns your mindset, your body, your hormones. It moves you from a potentially fight or flight, stressful situation into rest and digest. I encourage you to start with 5 minutes. Of course, you could do more than that. That'd be great. Right? But at least 5 minutes. You'd be amazed how quickly you can shift your mood, shift your energy, and shift your focus.
Yeah, that's something I also read about box breathing literally. I hate using that word, but it's really true, literally this weekend too. And it was framed in actually something else that you brought up with the tier one operatives and Navy SEALs do that to
Exactly.
calm themselves down when
Exactly down. I mean, think about guns are, these weapons are going off around them and these missions they're doing, and they teach
yep.
them 4-part breathing, box breathing, so they can calm themselves down and center them. They're centering themselves, right?
hmm
What it does is all the commotion and chaos that's going outside of you, you kind of pull back, not physically, but you're pulling back to center yourself so you can be clear about what's the next best action I can take.
That's something. That's something. So I'm sure that our listeners are going to want to reach out and contact you. What's the best way to do that? And is there anything else that you'd like to refer them to out
Sure.
there in cyberspace, as they say?
Absolutely. Just send me a note, John J. Fenton, John at johnjfenton.com. You can also visit my website, www.johnjfenton.com. Real easy. There's a little box there. You can connect with me there. Also on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn, John J. Fenton, the CEO coach. And I'd love
hmm
to connect with you and share more about ways I might be able to help you be the best leader you can be.
He has a fantastic LinkedIn profile. Ask me how. So
Thank you,
great.
Bob. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. No worries. It was a blast working with you on your profile. It was great. So, John J. Fenton, we're just going to call him the CEO Sensei. Thank you for joining us today. Really appreciate your time, John.
Thank you so much, Bob. It's been a great pleasure.
Sure. And thank you for streaming this episode of Making Sales Social. So remember, when you're out this week, be sure to make your sales social. Thanks for watching, and join us again for more special guest instructors bringing you marketing, sales training, and social selling strategies that will set you apart. Hit the subscribe button below to get the latest episodes from the Making Sales Social podcast. Give this video a thumbs up and comment down below on what you want to hear from us next. You can also listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Play. Visit our website, socialsaleslink.com, for more information.